What's going on, guys? Paul here. Welcome back to another Cardano video. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe and the notification bell so you never miss any of this Cardano content. So today is a quick look back at the week. What are the major news items for Cardano and the Cardano ecosystem? I suppose the biggest one being the testnet being upgraded. We'll also take a quick look at the charts as well to see how the prices are performing, with Bitcoin breaking above 50k as I record this, as well as ADA has hit $3 this week as well. If you do get value, please do leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts of what's going on right now. Give the video a like, share it out there. And if you want to support the channel after that, please do consider delegating to the Cardano stake pool PAUL, which is one that I run myself. So let's just jump into it. Okay, so first up, and I suppose is the most important news item this week, is smart contracts are now available on the testnet for Cardano. Now, it's been available on different versions of the testnet over the last few months, but this is now the public testnet, and this is the version that will be uploaded to the mainnet on September 12th. So everything really does seem to be on track. The hard fork on the testnet went really well. So far, doesn't seem to be any major bugs or anything like that. So for now, September 12th is a go for smart contracts on Cardano. Now, I'm going to put out a separate video on this talking about September 12th, what to kind of expect around that. And I think it's going to be a lot quieter than people expect. So September 12th, with the way that Cardano upgrades the nodes, there should be no major explosions or anything like that. It should just, on the turn of the epoch, the blockchain just keeps ticking over, and that's the way that the hard fork combinator has been designed. And in terms of projects launching, I don't expect to see any really big or any major projects launching before mid-October to the end of October. So I'm talking to a lot of different projects at the minute, trying to catch up, find out how they're all getting on and see what's happening on chain. And lots of them are basically there with the early version of their project, but they need to get audits done, and security audits are extremely important. And with Cardano right now, there aren't many projects or many companies that are actually doing security audits for Cardano smart contracts and Haskell. So again, that will slow some projects down. And once the mainnet is out, people need to test on that as well to make sure everything is all okay. So an extra few weeks for a project to hold on to make sure everything is right. I would really encourage any project to do that. Don't just rush out the door just to be the first to market, because one single line of code, one mistake in the code could actually destroy a project. So it's always worth getting them security audits in, and make sure for when us as the end users start to use all of this DeFi infrastructure that's being built, that it's actually working well and there's no holes in it. So again, I also said about the $3 ADA. We will talk about that in a second. Over on Building on Cardano, so we held our first Twitter Spaces last night to encourage projects to come on and just give an introduction to what they are, what they're doing, and what's going on at the minute. Twitter Spaces, for anyone who isn't familiar, over on Twitter, it's basically Clubhouse was another version on another platform, but Twitter Spaces is kind of taking over right now from what I can see. It's basically an audio channel where anyone on Twitter can just log in and listen to the call, or they can actually request to speak on it as well. So myself and Patty had one last night. A few different projects come on, and I think as a first one, it went fairly well. The most viewed projects on the website for August were Card Wallet, Sunday Swap, ADA Swap app, don't know much about that yet, and World Mobile. So we'll see how that comes out for September as well. And the traffic on the site is really starting to pick up as well. So to me, that's a good sign of people are looking for projects to see what is actually going on right now. So Polymarket as well made another bet. So they made a bet that smart contracts wouldn't be on Cardano by October, I think. So they did concede that there a while ago, and they put out, so they said to give the win to Charles, well played, but they actually think that ADA was going to break $3 by the end of 2021. So yes, it definitely did break that this week, and we will take a look at that at the minute. So at the minute, it is Cardano 2 and PolymarketHQ nil. So what else did we have here? There's a website as well. So there's a lot of scams going around. I talk about scams a lot here, trying to warn people about what's going on out there. So there is a link to a website here that IOHK have set up that you can actually come in and report scam websites. So there's Twitter giveaways, there's all this type of stuff, YouTube giveaways, and they lead back to a website which gives you an address to send your ADA to, and they're supposedly going to double or triple it or that kind of stuff, which is all fake. But what you can do to help combat this is obviously report the YouTube video, but you can also submit them to this site here as well, and IOHK are actively working to get them sites taken down to hopefully save people getting scammed of their ADA. So that was about the Twitter Spaces. Thought this was interesting as well. So this was a block that I seen my own stake pools produced overnight. And when I seen the size of it, it was fairly substantial. So in that block that the pool validated, there was $333 million worth of ADA. And the overall fee paid for that block was $12.20. So as well, when you actually break it down, when I went into it to look at the transactions, there was one transaction made up the bulk of it, and then there was a few other ones as well. But one transaction alone was $332 million, and the transaction fee was 0.32 of an ADA, which was under $1. So whoever sent that, whatever, I would say, massive organization has that much sitting there, it cost them less than $1 to send that much ADA. So people talk about the fees on Cardano. Are they going to be scalable? What's going to happen when there's more traffic, when everything's running? And with the scaling solutions that are there for Cardano, it isn't going to be a problem in the future, fees on Cardano. So if the price of ADA, which we all think it is going to do over the long term anyway, if it's going to keep going up, then obviously if it's 0.3 of an ADA, if ADA is $3 now, if ADA was $10, then it's $3 for the fee. Still absolutely tiny for that size of a transaction, but all of these parameters can be changed in the protocol. So we will have full on-chain governance down the line as well, where everyone can vote on all the different parameters within the protocol. So the community will be able to vote to lower transaction fees as well on the network. So they never should come to be a problem as we see on top of Ethereum right now. So that was a lot of it there. Actually, World Mobile Token has been distributed. So some people are saying they don't know if they've had them yet. So within your UI, you can see here, if you go into your transactions, so you can see I set up a new wallet to receive my WMT, which is World Mobile Token, and I got them last night. And you can see the transaction come in, so I've hid the actual amounts here, but there was a small amount of ADA which accompanies all transactions of Cardano native assets, and then the WMT is there as well. So that's how you can see if you have received them. I would expect a lot of the wallets to be upgraded over the next while as native assets become more used. There are other wallets out there I'm going to cover in a future video as well, but that's where you can check as well if you got a transaction last night, today, could be over the next few days as well. By the time they actually finish sending them all out, you can check there to see if you've got the actual WMT as well. So I think that was a lot of it on Twitter. So I see Big Pay had John O'Connor on his channel there. I didn't get to watch the full interview yet, but I'm sure it is worth a watch as well, talking about Africa and everything that Cardano is doing out there. So that's it for the updates on that. Let's take a look at the overall. So I've started this on CoinGecko. It's just my own personal one of the portfolios I've created. Now, I say portfolio, these aren't all coins that I own or anything like that. This is just ones that I know are related to Cardano, so I've started to save them in here. And if you see that I'm missing any of them, please do let me know down below and I can add them in. This is for my own personal tracking, and I look to see, hopefully CoinGecko will implement fairly soon or over the next while a tab where you can actually just go into it and it automatically has all the Cardano related projects. But this is what I'm looking at, and overall, you can see over the last 7 days, it's been a very good time. Singularity DAO, I don't own any. I'm very sorry I don't. Looks to be a fairly incredible project, what they're aiming to do. I am probably going to have them on the channel next week. We just have to figure out a time that works for both sides to get an interview there and get a deeper dive into the project. They will be transitioning to Cardano as well over the next while. ADAX as well, I have an interview with them this weekend, so that should be out on Sunday. Was meant to be today, but we've pushed it out to Sunday because they have some technical updates coming that we will be able to include in that as well. So overall, looking fairly good. YaySwap, you can see down here, has really plummeted over the last few days. I did include them in a video I done during the week talking about scams, rug pulls that are happening on top of Cardano, and I was highlighting a lot of the red flags. So since that, the website has come back up, which is good to see. The reason that I am very suspicious of them overall is because during their sale, they were getting a bit of pressure to reveal who they were, and they were looking for, the community was suggesting people that would be very fair to them. So they suggested me, and I said, yeah, come on the channel, reveal your team, and we can have a chat. So they said they would. So that calmed a lot of worry in the community. They said after the sale, we will. After the sale, they stopped replying to messages, ignored my messages. So for me, that was a major red flag. And there is a lot of stuff going on there now at the minute with X markets, with them. So I don't know what the actual truth on it is, but just be very careful at the minute as well. I really do hope it's a good project. I hope they are building in the background for everyone who's invested in it. But for me, it's definitely not one that I would get into right now. So that's really it on the projects. So let's take a look at the overall charts then. So we'll start on Bitcoin just because it's the first one that opened up here. We can see Bitcoin has broken up above the it's broken above 50,000, but it's trying to get above 51 at the minute. If we look at the daily chart for Bitcoin, overall, this is looking very, very good. So this is the area that you would be expecting the bit of resistance, because when we got the falls back here in May, we got a bit of support and tried to push up, but it was in around this, the kind of $50,000 level up to 52, where we tried to get the bounce, couldn't go any higher and got rejected down majorly. So we'll see how this plays out over the next few days. It's great to see Bitcoin up above $50,000 again. Holding that now is going to be the very important part to see where we can go over the next week or so. In general, market sentiment looks to be very positive. You can see when we came into this channel, we were ranging a bit, and currently as I record this, looking to break out above. So we'll see how that plays out over the weekend. I will do an updated video on Monday. Overall, market sentiment is very good. If we look at the RSI, still lots of room to the upside, not overbought yet. We are pushing up to a higher side, but in general, still lots of room to push to the upside before you would expect the market to have a little bit of a pullback. Looking at the USD price, how great is it to see a $3 ADA? Very much in an uptrend right now. On the RSI, again, we've pulled back on the RSI from the levels that we had in the middle of August, where we were really pushing up to be very overbought. As you can see up here, when we were overbought, we had the pullback, which corrected the RSI. Again, moving to the upside, and when we did here, we got another pullback that pulled back the RSI, and now lots of room to the upside. So technically, there is lots of room to move up there over the next week, especially as we move up towards smart contracts launching on, what day are we? Just under 2 weeks now until smart contracts actually launch on the network. So if we're looking short term on this, what I would personally be looking at is getting another break up here, maybe even up towards the $350 level before smart contracts launches, depending on if any leaks or any hype comes into it, maybe even touching up to the $4 level. But I would expect a pullback, and maybe a fairly decent one in around the launch of smart contracts. Even before, maybe the day or two before, we'll start to see a bit of a pullback in the market. And I know people will say that this is a different launch than any other hard fork combinator or any other major release on the network, and it definitely is, because it's going to bring so much functionality to the network. But on the other side of that, as I've said earlier, from talking to different projects, I think it will be October, middle to end of October, before we see projects actually launching and using the smart contract functionality. So again, there probably will be a little bit of a cool off period, and then depending on how early then projects start coming in, look, we may get some of the more basic smart contracts launching earlier, but in terms of the full-on DeFi protocols, DEXs, the likes of Liquid, they will be into October before we get that type of stuff. But I'm sure we will get some smaller functionality, some other types of smart contracts running before that. So every time something like that happens, it will be really good for the market. But look, I'll keep an eye on it. As I see the development progressing, we'll look at how that's been reflected in the charts. And as always, look, anytime we've got to an all-time high, I've always said, don't be afraid to take profits. Don't be afraid to take something off the table. What is right for everyone over on social media or everywhere else saying we're going to the moon and you'd be crazy to sell, that might not be right for you and your family. So take the decision, what's right for you in your own perspective. I'm currently looking at that myself. I generally sell off my rewards now at these levels. But in terms of selling off any of my bigger bag of ADA, that hasn't happened yet. But I will have a dedicated video talking about my own personal strategy there. So where else? We look at the ADA BTC price, and once again, looking very, very healthy. Since we got the bounce off the long-term uptrend down here, it's been nothing but up. Small pullbacks, but always hitting the higher lows. So as you look, it's just like stepping up in the ladder on the higher lows. So at the minute, consolidating a bit. This would be expected as Bitcoin is in around that 50k level. The market doesn't know if Bitcoin's actually just going to have a huge pump or get rejected down from that level. So again, overall, looking extremely positive considering this is the ADA price against Bitcoin. So for the year so far, I think someone was asking me, it's like 1100% ADA has outperformed Bitcoin for this year so far. And we're not done yet either. So I hope this video has been of some use to you guys. It's gone a little bit longer than planned, but if it has, give the video a share, leave a comment down below and give it a like, and I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks for watching.